Casey's Top 40.
Hi, this is Casey Kasem. Hootie and the Blowfish have another big hit on their hands. This week, their song Only Wanna Be With You jumped up 12 big notches to number 25 to become our biggest mover. Now can the four-man band from South Carolina keep on moving up the chart and score their third top 10? We'll find out as we count down all the biggest hits in the USA on Casey's Top 40.
Top 40.
When you hear a song and like it, usually it takes on some kind of personal meaning to you. So what's your take on the first hit by Hootie and the Blowfish, Hold My Hand? The man who wrote it, Hootie drummer Sony, told us he had something very specific in mind.
It kind of, as opposed to being about a person or an incident, it's more of a general feeling I had. Like, the song was written 5 years ago almost, like 89 when I first started with these guys, and it was just about, you know, some friends of mine or some people in my life at the time that were a little bit down and out and kind of needed a helping hand, I guess. And I kind of wrote it just about, you know, helping each other out.
With a little love, counting them down with Casey Kasem.
And moving up a notch to number 5 on Casey's Top 40 is Hootie and the Blowfish, a band that recently got quite a treat when their tour rolled through Las Vegas. They received a star on the Hard Rock Cafe's Walk of Fame, a star right near those of the band Metallica and Roger Daltrey and John Entwistle of The Who. We're counting down now to Edwin McCain, a newcomer who has a close connection to Hootie and the Blowfish. They come from the same state, they recently went out on tour together, and they even sing together on Edwin McCain's first Top 40 hit. Details coming up.
Casey counts them down. Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to Edwin McCain, a newcomer who has a close connection to Hootie and the Blowfish. They come from the same state, they recently went out on tour together, and they even sing together on Edwin McCain's first Top 40 hit. First off, they all come from South Carolina, and at one time they all attended the University of South Carolina in Columbia, which is where they met. Edwin says, quote, I first saw them when they were just freshmen playing in a little place in Columbia called Muldoon's. They're possibly the nicest guys on the planet, and they've been a phenomenal help to me and my band, unquote. As both bands paid their dues playing clubs and parties throughout the Southeast, they'd often come to each other's shows. And when Hootie and the Blowfish began hitting big, they invited Edwin McCain and his band to be their opening act on part of their recent summer tour. And their support of Edwin McCain didn't end there. Two members of Hootie and the Blowfish, lead singer Darius Rucker and guitar player Mark Bryan, were with Edwin McCain, and they helped him record his debut album titled Honor Among Thieves. And now one of the tracks they all did together has become Edwin's first Top 40 hit. Here's Edwin McCain and Solitude.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to Hootie and the Blowfish, a highly successful act that has one word for critics who don't like them. Thanks. When Darius Rucker, Jim Sonfeld, Mark Bryan, and Dean Felber released their debut album, Cracked Rear View, they didn't get a warm greeting from the critics. A critic in Newsweek accused their music of being nothing more than, quote, cozy, bland escapism. The New York Times said their lyrics were, quote, vague and steeped in cliché. And the paper went on to describe lead singer Darius Rucker as, quote, a vocal crybaby who sings like he has a mouthful of mashed potatoes, unquote. Of course, criticism like that can hurt. But Darius Rucker says the band actually turned those negatives into a positive. And their one word for the critics is thanks. Darius says, we really want to thank those critics for what they've been saying. They really helped us get close. All that criticism strengthened our friendship. We had to stand back to back and fight all that off and look at each other and say, we're a good band, unquote. Well, the critics may have had harsh words for Hootie and the Blowfish, but that didn't stop the public from buying their music. The group's debut CD, Cracked Rear View, became the biggest selling CD of 1995, and to date, It sold over 13 million copies. In April, they released their second CD, Fairweather Johnson, and that CD has already racked up sales of 2 million copies. This week, the first hit from that CD is survey song number 9 on Casey's Top 40, Hootie and the Blowfish with Old Man and Me.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to Hootie and the Blowfish, a band whose lead singer recently pledged his bone marrow in hopes of someday saving a life. Bone marrow is the part of our body that manufactures blood cells. Without healthy bone marrow, a person can die from diseases like leukemia and immune deficiency syndromes. Fortunately, bone marrow can be transplanted from a healthy person to a sick person, and that's what the National Marrow Donor Program is all about. It's a registry where healthy folks can pledge to give a very small part of their bone marrow to patients who need it. One of the people who recently registered is Darius Rucker, lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish. He was inspired to register when a marrow transplant saved the life of a good friend's 2-year-old son. After seeing that, Darius knew he had to do something to help other people in need. Darius says the whole process of registering to become a donor took him about an hour. He went to one of the 104 locations in the USA sponsored by the Red Cross. He filled out a detailed questionnaire and gave blood and tissue samples so he can be matched with a person in need. If you'd like to register as well, contact the Red Cross in your area. Now, here's Darius Rucker singing lead with Hootie and the Blowfish on their 6th Top 40 hit. It's the song that climbs 2 notches to number 16 this week on Casey's Top 40, Hootie and the Blowfish with Tucker's Town.
Casey's biggest hits.
A year ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was I Go Blind, by a band so popular, country great Garth Brooks turned down an award as Favorite Artist of the Year, saying this band deserved it more than he did. It was back in 1996 at the American Music Awards. When it came time to present the award for Favorite Artist of the Year, the envelope was open, and Garth Brooks' name was read. Garth walked to the podium with a thoughtful look on his face, and he shocked the audience with the following words. He said, quote, "With all due respect to the people who voted, I'm going to leave this right here. It shouldn't go to me. It belongs to Hootie." Garth Brooks was turning down the award in favor of another act, the act that had one of the biggest hits in the USA a year ago this week. Here's Garth's choice for the Favorite Artist of the Year, Hootie and the Blowfish with I Go Blind.
The hits from coast to coast.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 Extra by Hootie and the Blowfish, a band that was disappointed with the follow-up to their multi-platinum debut album, Cracked Rear View. It was back in 1994 that Hootie and the Blowfish put out Cracked Rear View, and over the next 2 years, it went on to sell more than 15 million copies in the U.S. alone, making it one of the biggest-selling albums of all time. Now, their follow-up album, Fairweather Johnson, did well. It sold more than 2 million copies, but the band members say they were disappointed. And they decided the problem was they had gotten too far away from their roots. They had begun as a college town bar band, and that's who they had to be again. And so for the past year, they've been on a secret tour of their old haunts, playing under pseudonyms, testing out new material. Guitarist Mark Bryan says, quote, "When the crowds would realize who we were, they'd be standing there with their mouths wide open. They couldn't believe it." Unquote. The result is the album the band is currently recording, an album due out this coming September. In the meantime, as an extra here on American Top 20, this is Hootie and the Blowfish with their Top 10 smash from 1995.
America's Top Hits.
3 years ago this week, one of the top hits in the USA was by a band who finally came up with a way of describing their eclectic style of music. They call it golf rock. Hootie and the Blowfish say there's nothing more frustrating than trying to pigeonhole their sound. It's part Allman-style Southern rock, part REM style college rock, part Motown style R&B, and even part latter-day Beatles. The term the Hooties finally came up with was golf rock, which works out just fine for them. After all, golf is their favorite game. And anyway, like golf, they like to think of their music as sort of something that grows on you, that's different every time, and that once you get hooked on it, you just can't get enough of the stuff. 3 years ago this week, Hootie and the Blowfish had one of the top hits in the USA with a prime example of their golf rock sound. Here's Time.
American Top 10.
Now, we're up to an American Top 10 Extra by Hootie and the Blowfish, a band whose lead singer has gone country. Darius Rucker, lead singer of Hootie, has been moving in the direction of country music for several years. He's become a regular in Nashville, singing backup for a number of country stars. His clothing has gone from college-style khakis to cowboy boots and jeans. Darius even played a singing cowboy in a Burger King ad. Well, he's finally gone from flirting with country music to diving in boots first. He signed the solo deal with Capitol Nashville, and for the past month, Darius has been working on a country album of his own. According to his label, Darius is trying to create a new country album of old-style country songs. Quote, "It's the country your grandfather listened to, Texas two-step shuffles, which are great." Though the label also said they're trying to get Darius to record a few songs that are a bit, well, more commercial. Now with an extra, here's Darius Rucker with Hootie and the Blowfish and a hit from 1995, Let Her Cry.
And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be, oh, let her be.